Here's your report.
Thanks, Jane. I wish I could hire a whole team of yous.
Try posting a job on LinkedIn. It's the world's largest professional network. Unlike resumes, LinkedIn gives a real-time view into a candidate's skills, experiences, and more.
Let's do it. You're irreplaceable, Jane, but another you would be great.
Find your perfect match with LinkedIn. Post your free job at linkedin.com/achieve. That's linkedin.com/achieve. Terms and conditions apply.
Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Abercrombie. Build your fits of the day with Abercrombie's newest denim drop. Here's where to start. Abercrombie's 90s straight jean goes with any shirt from tees to sweater polos. Super versatile. Their loose and baggy jeans are more trend forward, so you can grab those and go out with your friends. Abercrombie's denim fits come in a range of washes. Build your looks around Abercrombie denim. Shop online or in-store.
Hey everyone, welcome to this edition of Keep Watch Pass on the It's Not That Bad podcast channel, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. I'm going to get this out of the way now because if you've listened to our shows and you know how I am, you know that I am bad jokes and dad jokes for days. So, I want to tell you about the vampire movies. That's it. It's out of my system now. It's out of my system. We're good.
Oh, that sucked.
It completely did. It absolutely did. I am going to sit here and revel in my mediocrity. Welcome to the show. I suck.
Retreat back to your coffin.
Right? But I don't suck blood, but we're talking about vampire movies. And here to join me, the eternal love of my life. My lovely wife, Carrie. Carrie, how are you doing?
Oh, I thought you were going to call me like your Morticia or something.
No, my blood supply maybe. I don't know.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. All
right, meatbag. How you doing there?
This just got weird.
It did get weird.
I am not wearing a vial of your blood in a necklace around my neck.
Thanks, Angelina Jolie. And I am not Billy Bob Thornton. Thank God for all of that. So we're about to go down vampire movie road. So Carrie, before we get into this, vampire movies, is this a genre for you? Because I know, like, we've talked about before when we did horror films, and horror movies wasn't exactly our genre of choice. Vampire movies, does this lean more towards it?
I'm not going to lie. I found myself picking a movie and then I'm like, wait, is that a vampire or a zombie?
A zombie film, yeah.
Zombies or vampires? I for some reason in my mind, I combined the two. So I found myself like really being selective.
No, one wants blood and one wants brains. You know, it's you're dining off two different menus at that point.
Oh my God. Oi.
All right, so here's what we're going to do, dear listeners. After we tell a bunch of bad jokes, we're going to pick 3 movies each, a keep, a watch, and a pass. The keep is like a blood buffet. The watch is one that, okay, we're getting our feed, but it's more like a synthetic True Blood kind of thing. And the pass is one where, well, we've just kind of bled it dry. Yeah, again, bad jokes and dad jokes all day. Carrie, I'm going to pass this one over to you here. What is your keep vampire film?
This is not going to be shocking at all to you, but without a doubt, I am keeping From Dusk Till Dawn.
Again, could have called it.
You saw that coming.
I absolutely saw that coming. And when you see how much money I put down on the Vegas odd lines of you picking From Dusk Till Dawn, yeah.
Well, I'm glad I can,
I was
glad to help out.
I was going to bleed the bookies dry on that one. I went there. But no, like, this is one of those films that, first of all, because you have 2 different directors, and like Tarantino and Rodriguez have done this as well with the Grindhouse double feature, and of course with 4 Rooms, which we've talked about on It's Not That Bad. They work so well together. I think I have to put this out there, though. The film itself is good. It's really good. And it does feel like two distinctly different films. Is it weird that I liked Full Tilt Boogie better than I liked the film? Like the actual documentary of the making of From Dusk Till Dawn that came in like the DVD box set that we got. I enjoyed watching Full Tilt Boogie, but then again, I also like watching behind the scenes stuff too.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. But I mean, as far as the movie itself, like, I kind of enjoyed that it had that dark twist. Like, I mean, it was dark to begin with, right? You've got George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino playing as the brothers that are like murderous, rampage on their way to
a very good Juliette Lewis film too.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Love
Harvey
her in
Keitel.
this. Yeah.
Oh, however, I mean, After Dark, it just turns into this vampire flick. And, I mean, come on. Danny Trejo. So good.
Right.
So good.
Yeah, no, I mean, the minute they get to the
Salma
titty
Hayek.
twister, Salma Hayek is stunning in this, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the minute they get to the titty twister, things just go tits up. And I think it's an unheralded film of theirs, right? Yeah, obviously Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction and Kill Bill are going to get all the accolades. From Dusk Till Dawn, don't sleep on this because you get the best of both worlds. You get the Clooney Tarantino dialogue between the brothers. So if you love Tarantino-esque dialogue-driven films, but then you get that almost El Mariachi desperado action with vampires thrown in, as far as the Rodriguez side goes, this is both of them just cooking as far as directors go. And really, the fact that you had to have them leave the Directors Guild to make this film happen, that's why I find this film, I think, more fascinating than some of both of their other films independently, because Full Tilt Boogie showed exactly what they had to go through to make this film happen. I love watching behind the scenes documentaries. And no, Full Tilt Boogie is not a vampire film. It's just a documentary about a vampire film. It's not my pick, though. It's not my pick. I'm going with a film that I don't know if you've seen or not. I mean, if you haven't, you should. It stars Ethan Hawke and Willem Dafoe. The movie is called Daybreakers. This is kind of a different take on the typical vampire story, because most vampire films, it's someone trying to run a stake through the vampire's heart and save the day, save the girl, all that kind of stuff, right? Daybreakers is a very different film in that it envisions a world where vampires outnumber humans and they're running out of humans to feed on. And what happens in a world where vampires no longer have a blood source to sustain them. It's a really cool, well done film. Ethan Hawke and Willem Dafoe are always good no matter what they do. And I think it might be one of the most ingenious vampire films because it's not your typical story. It's different. It's a vastly different take that focuses on the vampires in a time of almost existential vampire crisis, but not from being taken out, but because they won. Vampires won. But what happens when vampires win? And they are the dominant species on the face of the planet. You have humans basically being strung up and kept alive so they can continue to feed the vampires. It's a fascinating take on it. Highly, highly recommend Daybreakers.
This episode is brought to you by Nerds Gummy Clusters, the sweet treat that always elevates the vibe. With a sweet gummy surrounded with tangy, crunchy nerds, every bite of Nerds Gummy Clusters brings you a whole new world of flavor. Whether it's game night, on the way to a concert, or kicking back with your crew, unleash your senses with Nerds Gummy Clusters.
I think I just won my taxes.
Yeah?
I just switched to H&R Block in about 1 minute. All I had to do was drag and drop last year's return into H&R Block, and bam, my information is automatically there.
So I don't have to go digging around for all my old papers to switch?
Nope.
Sounds like we just leveled up our tax game.
Switching to H&R Block is easy. Just drag and drop your last return. It's better with Block.
Build a routine with Ollie that supports your wellness needs, like getting your daily vitamins and minerals with Ollie's multi-gummies, or keeping your mood upbeat with all the vitamin D in Hello Happy. Give your gut health some support with probiotics, and wake up feeling refreshed after taking Ollie Sleep. Do wellness on your terms. Find Ollie at a Walmart or Target near you or at ollie.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
I'm going for a much different take on my watch pick. I'm going with a bit more of a comedy one, but one that in itself started a franchise. Of course, I'm talking Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie that starred Christy Swanson in the titular role of Buffy, and a film that features the greatest death scene of all time that lasted so long it lasted into the end credits as well, by one Mr. Paul Reubens. Yes, Pee Wee Herman as a vampire with the slowest death ever, and it's hilarious. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the film, like if your knowledge of Buffy is from the TV show alone, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie, might come at you as a bit of a culture shock because it's much more of a campy, almost comedy kind of hit. And then the TV show went in a vastly different direction. But I mean, that doesn't happen if Christy Swanson doesn't absolutely kill us. I mean, the entire concept is absurd. A cheerleader who happens to be, along the bloodline of ancient vampire slayers, Donald Sutherland as her mentor. Like, this film has a killer cast and killer jokes, and I personally find it funny because I love this film, but I have yet to watch an entire episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV series, despite the fact that it's got Allison Hannigan in it, and I think she's fantastic. The movie is undeniable. And maybe somewhere down the road, I need to actually watch the show, but it's going to be hard to separate the movie from the show. Back over to you, Carrie. What's your watch vampire pick?
Well, I'm going with another Sutherland movie.
Okay.
And that would be Young Kiefer.
Yep.
In The Lost Boys.
I knew you were going to.
How could I not? You know, you give me a task and I got to be obvious.
And a couple of Corys.
Yes.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Here it goes. You're going to rat me out for being a Corey. I was a Haim girl.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and I need to say the same thing too about From Dusk Till Dawn. The Lost Boys is iconic. It is an absolute iconic film. From Dusk Till Dawn, you could argue that it's iconic as well.
It should be more.
It should be more, yeah. But I think both suffer from the fact that sequels exist.
Yes, there's definitely that.
I mean, despite the fact that From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money, has everyone's 90s crush Tiffany Amber Thiessen in it, does it matter? Not that good a film. Lost Boys 2, Lost Boys 3, like...
That's right, they made a third.
Yeah, because Corey Feldman is milking that vampire cow right now. He's milking it for all its blood.
Can't they just leave a dead vampire alone?
No, apparently not. But I understand. Like, I get it is hard for Hollywood and any kind of film company to have a franchise and have an IP that was successful and not go, one more song, one more. No, sometimes you don't need one more song. Now, I will give From Dusk Till Dawn credit because The Netflix series that was spawned from it was actually really well done. Lost Boys, not so much. And I do understand that, it was kind of riding on the repopularity of the Corys when they had that A&E TV series, the two Corys. And it's tragic that we are no longer with Corey Haim. But I don't know. I don't know if I want to watch those sequels because I'm afraid of it lessening how good The Lost Boys was. Like, do you ever get that when there's a movie out there, you're like, this is one of my favorite movies, and then the sequel comes out and you're like, oh, what's it going to do? What's it going to do to the franchise? Do you have that moment where you dread going to see the sequel that shouldn't be?
I think I had a very different experience with Bill and Ted. I waited how many years? 20 years for them to make a third.
Mm-hmm.
And they did.
And they shouldn't.
And I went into it so excited. And I watched it and I was like, I wish that I never saw that because it just wasn't. It was, you know what? I mean, Bill and Ted Bogus Journey was, something.
It was.
Did it have to happen?
Station.
Well, but you know what? The first movie is just so good. And it's just kind of like, okay, if they had just left it alone, I would have been okay. I would have been okay with that.
I think, there have been a few franchises that have been able to pull it off. Tron is one of them, right? When Tron came out originally, it was fantastic. It was amazing, right? It was one of those things where it was well before its time. And then they announced Tron Legacy coming out. And people were like, oh, how's this going to be? I love Tron Legacy. I think it's great. Blade Runner. It is the pinnacle of science fiction and film noir meshed into one. And then they announce decades later, Blade Runner 2049. But in the hands of Denis Villeneuve, it is fantastic. Sometimes, though, a franchise should be left alone. You don't need to go back to the well. And we're seeing that now, too, right? Like, what was it? Anne Hathaway came out and said there was another Princess Diaries film being made now. Not that I watched the Princess Diaries, but I understand.
The Devil Wears Prada.
Right?
Too.
Like, do we need to go back to those?
No, leave it.
Right. I love that you brought up Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and I'm going to go on a slight little tangent here, but bear with me here. Because we recently talked about, over on It's Not That Bad, we recently talked about epic movie, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Do you remember the character of Station? Right, this small little creature, like, and it would kind of break up into different creatures and all that. Uncredited as Station in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, Tony Cox. Now we get to your past film. So, Carrie, which film sucked the life out of you?
Funny you should say that because the movie that I'm passing on still have yet to see, although I know that it's been a contender for It's Not That Bad.
Oh, is this the one I think it is and it's on the whiteboard already?
Many years. So we've, continuously
avoided it like the plague.
Ignored it. I dare say, kind of skirted the issue. Not that the movie sucks or anything, but that's the title of it. So I'm going to go with suck because we've passed for this long, and I would actually be shocked if we ever actually get around to covering it. I've yet to see it.
See, it's written on the whiteboard. And by the way, dear listeners, if you have a whiteboard and you leave marker on the whiteboard for too long, it is impossible to wipe off. You need to literally draw over what you wrote with another dry erase marker in order to be able to wipe it off. Also, life hack for you. I can't even really say anything because we haven't watched this film yet. So
it does have an incredible list of talent. I mean, Alice Cooper and Iggy Pop are in it. It looks intriguing.
All right, well, let's put a pin in this episode here because we are going to cover that film. And I will make the promise that by the end of 2025, we will have watched and covered that film.
I am calling my shot. Maybe for Halloween.
You know what? Why not? Why not? But we're going to come back to this, and then I'm going to ask you again if it's still a pass pick.
Fair.
All right. But for my pass pick, it's a film that you, if memory serves, tried to break the internet. I want to go back to when we did our Grading on a Curve special on video game adaptations. And if I remember correctly, you said Blood Rain was your number one pick, to which the rest of us in the round table instantly wanted a drug test to see what you were on.
That sounds about right.
It sounds about right, yeah. So when I say I'm passing on Blood Rain, I've already passed on Blood Rain because I distinctly remember that being, I think, maybe my least favorite of those 5 films. Again, I'd have to go back and re-listen to that episode, but then that means I would have to go back and re-listen to our trauma. But I feel bad for Kristanna Loken because when she really broke out into the public eye, it was in Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. And I know it's not the best Terminator film, but there was a lot of promise for Kristanna Loken. And then she stars in this abomination of a film directed by Uwe Boll, which also somehow has Ben Kingsley, Billy Zane, and Meatloaf. I also feel bad for Michelle Rodriguez because she tried so damn hard in this film to be badass. And Michelle Rodriguez is always badass. And she is the best part of this film. Kristanna Loken smartly did not stick around for the 2 sequels. Instead, the role of Rain in those 2 films, because there's Blood Rain 2 and Blood Rain 3, went to Natasha Malth. And we've talked about her before on another episode of Grading on a Curve because she played Typhoid Mary in Elektra. It's all coming full circle now. All vampire roads lead to Blood Rain. And you kind of wish that you got off the road a little bit earlier. And the thing is, like, the video game series has a big fan base. It's a good video game series. The pieces were there. But this was in an era where video game movies sucked. They weren't good. And Uwe Boll didn't help. There's some bad ones. And I know. Like, if I ever want to torture you, we'll watch Blood Rain 2 and Blood Rain 3. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure they're going to be bad. But feel bad because this film had a fantastic cast. It was not as good as its parts. It's kind of film you want to take apart. Try to re-put back together with gooder words and gooder scenes. I mean, Kristanna Loken wasn't bad in it, but I feel bad. I feel bad for video game audiences. I feel bad for vampire movie lovers. That just kind of crapped on a bunch of different genres. Carrie, thank you so much for this. Now, please remind our listeners what your keep, watch, and pass vampire movies are.
I am forever keeping From Dusk Till Dawn, from day to night, watching. I could watch that movie literally 24 hours.
You could watch it from dusk till dawn.
I could. I love that movie so much. I am watching The Lost Boys and continuously my run of passing on Suck until Halloween, October this year, 2025. I'm calling you out. we're going to watch suck. We're going to cover it. It's not that bad.
It may have to be the first week in November because I'm going to let you guys know well in advance. Mocktober returns.
See, he's putting me off another month. Maybe you know what? September. Damn it.
we'll call it Sucktember and we'll see how it goes.
Ooh,
there
I like
you go.
That.
Right.
All right. And we'll add Blood Rain 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, dear listeners. March is Razzie's month. October is Mocktober. We have tent poles for the year. All right. For me, my keep is Daybreakers. My watch is the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer film. And my pass is Blood Rain once again. Carrie, thank you so much for this. And to you, our dear listeners who do not suck, well, you guys know the drill. If there's a topic that you want us to cover on Keep Watch Pass or a movie that you want us to cover on It's Not That Bad, hit us up on social media at Not That Badcast or go to our website at notthatbadcast.com. And while you're there, check out our Coming Soon page because we do have a few movies on there, not suck, but we do have a few movies on there that we have kind of earmarked for later productions. So drop us a line, let us know what you think of those future episodes. Until next time, she's Carrie, I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is Keep Watch Pass on the It's Not That Bad podcast channel, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.